Silver is one of the oldest forms of money in human history. Yet today, most people barely think about it at all. It sits quietly in the shadow of gold, ignored, overlooked, forgotten. But while the world looks away, one of the most powerful financial institutions on earth is making a very different move. JPMorgan is quietly preparing for a massive shift in the silver market. Not with headlines, not with public announcements, but with silent accumulation. And that silence may be the loudest warning of all. Most people believe silver is just an industrial metal. Something used in electronics, solar panels, and jewelry. A slow-moving asset with little excitement. Investors rush into stocks, cryptocurrency, and gold, while silver barely makes the news. It's seen as cheap for a reason. They say unimportant. Predictable. Safe to ignore. But history has a strange habit of proving the crowd wrong. Because while the public dismissed silver, something very different was happening behind closed-walled doors. Year after year, JPMorgan began quietly absorbing massive quantities of physical silver. Not paper contracts, not digital exposure, real metal. Bars, coins stored and removed from the open market. With no media attention. No public explanation. No warning. And that raises one terrifying question. Why would one of the largest banks on the planet quietly prepare for a massive silver move? If nothing was coming. To understand the danger of what is forming today, we must travel backward thousands of years. Long before stocks, before central banks, before paper currency ever existed, silver was not just a metal. It was money. Civilizations rose and fell on its supply. Empires were funded by it. Armies were paired with it. Entire economies were built on its weight. From ancient Mesopotamia to Greece, from Rome to China, silver formed the backbone of global trade. It stored value when governments collapsed. It protected wealth when paper promises failed. And every time silver was removed from the monetary system, chaos followed. Rome learned this the hard way. As the empire expanded, it needed more money to fund wars, infrastructure, and control. At first, Rome paid in via silver. But eventually, the government began secretly reducing the silver content in its coins. More coins, less metal. On the surface, nothing changed, but beneath it, the currency was rotting. Inflation followed, trust collapsed, prices exploded, and the Roman economy was slowly hollowed out from within. The empire did not fall overnight. It decayed in silence, until the decay became visible to everyone. The same cycle repeated centuries later. Again and again, every time money was disconnected from reality, precious metals quietly returned to power. Fast forward to the modern era, for most of the 20th century, silver still played a role in global money. But that changed when governments severed the final link between currency and precious metals. Paper replaced reality. Digital numbers replaced physical value. And silver was pushed into the category of just another commodity. But after the financial crisis of 2008, something quietly changed. While the public panicked over collapsing banks and evaporating wealth, JPMorgan began accumulating physical silver on a historic scale. Over time, it became one of the largest holders of physical silver in the world. Not through chance, not through accident. Through deliberate, consistent accumulation. This was not a short-term trade. This was preparation. As the years passed, industrial demand for silver began to explode. Solar energy, electric vehicles, medical technology, military electronics, artificial intelligence. Every major technology of the future depends on silver's unique properties. It is the most conductive element on Earth. There is no substitute for its efficiency at scale. At the same time, silver mining supply failed to keep up. Ore grades declined. New discoveries slowed. Production became harder, slower, and more expensive. And yet, prices remained strangely suppressed. On the surface, the market appeared calm. Below the surface, pressure was building. History shows a terrifying pattern. Before every major repricing of a strategic asset, the most powerful institutions position themselves quietly. Gold before currency collapses. Oil before energy crises. Land before inflation destroys cash. It always looks unimportant, right before it explodes. And now, the same pattern is forming around silver. Industrial demand is accelerating at the exact moment physical supply is tightening. Governments are printing currencies faster than at any point in recorded history. Global debt is at all-time highs. Trust in financial systems is weakening. And in the middle of it all, JPMorgan continues to hold a massive physical silver position. This is not coincidence. This is positioning. When pressure builds in closed systems, release does not come gently. It comes violently. When industrial demand collides with financial accumulation, the effect is not gradual, it is sudden, sharp, and unforgiving. A 500% silver revaluation would not just affect investors. It would ripple through every layer of society. Solar energy costs, electronics manufacturing, medical equipment, military supply chains, transportation, technology. Everyday products would quietly become more expensive, but beyond prices, something deeper would shift. A massive silver repricing would expose the weakness of fiat currencies. It would reveal the true scale of global inflation. It would transfer wealth from those who trusted paper promises to those who quietly prepared for reality. And this is where ordinary people stand at the edge of the storm. Those who prepare early protect purchasing power. Those who wait for headlines arrive too late. History is brutally consistent on this point. The public always reacts after the move. Institutions always position before it. Every major financial reset is invisible in its early stages. The danger feels distant. The warnings feel exaggerated. The evidence feels boring. Until the moment it no longer does. Storms do not announce themselves. They gather in silence. They build behind the horizon. And when they finally arrive, preparation time is already over. The real question is not whether silver will rise. The real question is, who will still be unprepared when the silver tsunami finally breaks? Because history is not only something we study. Sometimes, it is something we are about to relive. And when this storm hits, it will not ask for permission before it changes everything. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more insights.